everybody, it's Dr. Drake 63 here, along with my faithful companion. And today we're going to look at something in a box. What is this? CZ USA. Yeah, with exclamation point from Chloe. A nice plastic case. I wonder what this could be. I suppose we're going to have to open it up and find out. Probably you know from the title of what this video is, what's in here, but it's kind of a nice little gun case. And inside, I happen to have a couple bubble wrapped velvet right here, and what you have is looks like two pieces that need to go together. My oh my, is that ever not pretty? Look at that. Case hardened steel, external hammers. Why, I'm not sure. We're going to have to put this together, but I think there's a good chance that this is the CZ hammer coach in 12 gauge side-by-side. Very nice indeed. Let's take a look. Okay. We're going to put this bad boy together, and then we'll really give you a nice overview. In order to do that, this is how it comes shipped from the manufacturer. So the first thing you need to do is take off this front piece, and what you're left with is your two barrels, which are very nicely chromed. And as you're going to see right here, CZ USA. This particular model was imported by Taylor's and Company, and you're going to see here that this was actually manufactured for CZ by the Hughley Company, and that's out of Turkey. So in terms of putting this together, need to do a couple things. You notice I've got my finger ready on the latch. You drop in the front part of the joint there, and you're locked in. This piece, right in, locks in place, and I now have a side-by-side shotgun. And if you'll notice, it's got an extractor, this piece right here, but it's not an ejector. You might be wondering what the difference is. This is that Bacale I talked to you about, the side-by-side, so it functions very similarly. Now this has internal triggers, so basically those cock every time you pop this open. And the other thing that happens, it's kind of hard to see there, but right here, those are ejectors, okay? So when you break this open, they're spring loaded, and they are gonna pop that sucker right out. Gonna push it right out. They'll go flying over your shoulder, okay? Another way you can tell that they're ejectors as opposed to extractors, it might be kind of hard to see right there, but there's a line that splits them. So each one is actually independent, and they come together right there on that line. Another thing you'll notice here, this is a one trigger design, okay? So comparing that, you will see that this is one solid piece, and when you open, it's not spring loaded, it's just gonna push those shells out just enough that you can grab them and reload the next ones. So visually it doesn't look a lot different, but it behaves different. This thing isn't going to shoot shells over your shoulder when you're done shooting. The other thing you're going to notice here is there's two triggers, okay? And how this works is each one of them controls an external hammer. So when you pull this trigger, your right barrel goes off. When you pull the rear trigger, your left barrel goes off. Couple other differences. This is a fixed choke affair, intermediate choke, IM. Okay, so there's no changing out the tubes. It's always going to be what it is, which is fine with me. When you look at this McHale, I don't know if you can see it very well, but these actually have screw-in choke tubes. So, you know, two different firearms for sure, without a doubt. But we're not here to talk about this McHale today. We're here to talk about this CZ, which is just a wonderful, wonderful looking gun. It features a 20-inch barrel. I did mention it's chrome lined. For your front sight, you've got a bead up here. Nothing fancy. And you can kind of just see the workmanship. And I don't know how well this case hardening coloring is going to show up, but it's really beautiful. I was afraid it was going to be too colorful, and it's really not. A couple other features you'll notice up here. Here's your safety, and it's an on or off. So if you don't want to fool with it ever, if you don't need to fool with a safety, you go ahead and put this in the fire position. You can leave it there, and that's not going to change on you. What you'll see with a lot of side-by-sides, this being an example, you've got this safety. So I've just slid it into the fire position. I pull the trigger a couple times and break this open. One of the things that happens is the safety goes back to the safe position. Okay, so you have to remember every time you fire this firearm to do that. Okay, so that is a difference between the two that you'll see. Here, this CZ Hammers Classic, I said, is imported by Taylor's & Company. They're also imported by CZ USA. And so from that respect, I don't think there's any difference at all. And I think Taylor's brings them in primarily because they have a robust cowboy shooting assortment in their catalog. And so, hey, we'll go ahead and do something like this. But as far as is that really necessary to go through Taylor's? Are you going to get something different? Are you going to get a different price really, or anything like that? You're really not. So let's take a little bit closer look at this firearm from above. I've got this McHale, which is made in Russia, by the way. So who knows how that's going to work with imports. I've got it laying right next to the CZ, and one of the things you're going to notice right off the bat is the difference in barrel length. You've got 20-inch barrels on the CZ, and this here is a longer barrel. I believe this is 22-inch barrel. But taking a look at this firearm, pretty standard stuff. The bluing on the barrel is nothing to get excited about. In fact, I think this is a much more attractive blued barrel that you see on this McHale, which is a fraction of the cost of the CZ, and I've kind of mistreated this gun, haven't done much to take care of it, but so if I have any complaints, it's that. We'll get out and clean this up with some rem oil or something and see if it shines a little bit better. But just looking back, you can see these external hammers, and these aren't just for show. This is what actually fires each individual chamber. So if you look right here, you'll see that this hammer, when it goes forward, when you pull the trigger, is going to come in contact with this firing pin here, which then is going to contact the back of the shell. Okay, a little bit better look at the stamp from the Huglu. Now keep in mind too, it says it's 3-inch shells. I'm probably going to almost entirely fire birdshot 2 3/4-inch kind of shells out of this. So that's just what that is. But you can see the quality of the wood is very nice. And then as you look around here at the back, you'll even see that the butt plate is also that case hardened look. And again, what it is it's modern metallurgy, where what it's done is an acid bath is applied to give it the case hardened look. But as you can see, that's just all around beautiful looking firearm, checkered walnut. The checkering on this, try to look at it closer, you can see the detail on that. Very nice. Very nice. In fact, all of the workmanship on this, where the wood meets the frame, things of that nature, is very impressive to me. I want to take my hats off to the folks at CZ for presenting such a nice looking firearm. Here you can see again the case hardening on your release mechanism for your foregrip, and a beautiful job of checkering. Very good attention to detail. You want to compare that again to something like this Bacale. It's got some engraving on it, nothing to get excited about. The wood isn't as nice. The checkering is not as nice. Like I said, I haven't treated this thing too well. I bought it used for less than $200. You can see it has a rubber butt pad, which maybe when you're firing a 12 gauge shotgun a lot is a better idea than a steel plate on the butt pad. But as I mentioned, the bluing job on the barrels, a little bit more impressive than what I see here on the CZ. That's not a deal breaker or anything for me. This is not going to be a wall hanger. My plan for this CZ is to use it when I start doing some cowboy action shooting here. If not this fall, we'll get a chance to do that next spring, hopefully. So I would have used this Bacale, but it has the ejectors, and you can't use ejectors in cowboy competition, just extractors. So subtle difference, but since I was looking for a new gun anyway, I decided let's give it a shot. And I was able to pick this up, picked up with tax, shipping, the whole 9 yards, $876. So, like I said, a very fine looking rifle. Speaking of pretty guns, and I'm competing a little bit with the Locusts, sure does look nice next to this Uberti 1873 Winchester and this Uberti Cattleman, especially looking at that case hardened theme. You definitely have to like that if you're somebody that appreciates those kind of things like I am. So along with my other Uberti, got everything I need to look good doing some cowboy action shooting. Now the question's going to be in terms of tune-ups on the triggers, things like that. What do I need to do? I expect I'm going to get a lot of advice from people who've been doing this for a long time. I'll certainly listen to it, but what I'll also do is just do some shooting and determine some things for myself. But this stuff is quite frankly gorgeous, and from all accounts it functions well. I know that this Cattleman 2 sure does. I know that this 1873 sure does. I've been shooting the heck out of that and love it. Was getting some real nice target hits at 100 yards with these open sights. And now we've got a shotgun to add to the collection, which is probably going to be the weakest part of my game and the one that I need to work on the most. So we have the tools. Almost forgot to add that other 357 Uberti to the mix. And this will be my starting lineup whenever I do begin my career as a cowboy action shooter. Looking forward to it. There's no question You either like the look of the case hardening or you don't. I love this external hammer quite a bit. Double trigger is going to be something that I'm not used to using, so going to spend some time doing that. And I have to say though, just in terms of wood quality and overall quality, and you know, it costs a little bit more, so that explains why. I am a little bit more impressed with this 1873 by Uberti. It's one gorgeous firearm, and as I fired it, like I said, very accurate. No problems at all though with the looks of this CZ hammer coach. Good stuff. Good stuff. You think this is good stuff, Chloe? Yeah, it is. I mentioned that the barrel had kind of a, I don't want to say a matte finish, but it's definitely not a gloss finish, but kind of a satin blued finish. Now, a part of me feels like I ought to be sitting in a rocking chair for this part, with a cowboy hat tipped over my eyes, waiting for my daughter to get home from a date or something, but that's not going to happen. Gotta say though, just the look of this, and again, that physical cocking externally of the hammers, and one of the things that's nice about that is you can see what condition this firearm is in just by looking at it. Now, obviously we all know from gun safety we want to treat every weapon as if it is loaded, but it's nice to know whether something is cocked or not, what condition it's in. You can tell simply by looking at this right here with those hammers back that it's ready to fire, especially if the safety is off. Okay, so in terms of uncocking it, it's just a matter of remembering that the front trigger works the right, the back trigger works the left, and you can uncock your firearm very easily. But you know, do you want to be seen this view of this gun probably at any time, whether this happens to be an 1878 style shotgun or whether this happens to be something that's modern? The answer is, in 12 gauge, the answer is absolutely no. The answer is absolutely no. So one nice thing about this too, you can fire this one-handed. Why would you want to do that? Well, I don't know, but the point is you can. With a pump, you can fire once one-handed and then you're done. With semis, I guess you can as well. But without a doubt, this is one beautiful firearm. Again, this version picked it up from Taylor's and Company, but they're just merely the distributor. If you're looking for it, it's called the CZ Hammer Coach. It's a 20-inch barrel. I haven't seen them available, but I do know they did make a 30-inch barrel version of basically the same gun. I wanted something a little bit more compact, and as we showed you, this disassembles quite easily in terms of do you want to be able to take this apart for transport or whatever the case may be. It disassembles very easily and breaks down to a relatively small package, even smaller than that case that I showed you. So with that in mind, you've got a what I consider to be a very functional firearm that's got some versatility to it. I think any 12 gauge shotgun is going to be highly versatile, and does the job of what you need it to do, which is firing 2 shotgun shells at the same time and providing you with the capability of having that kind of hold off. And as you'll see as we get into the cowboy shooting, how quick we can reload and all those things will make a difference as well. So wanted to thank everybody for watching today. As usual, this is Dr. Drake 63, kind of moving a little bit more in that cowboy direction, guys. Got a couple guns to shoot. We need to shoot that new Ruger Vaquero. and we're also going to need to shoot this. So I owe you a couple shooting videos. Stay tuned. And as always, thanks for watching.